Hey, what's up guys, Scared here, back at it again with part 2 of my Solving Chica Secret Party series. If you missed part 1, it will be linked down below. But if you're all caught up, well, we have no time to waste, so let's party. In the last episode, we left off talking about the crying babies, and today, it's time to tackle the shadow figures. In a stealthy game twist, there are 2 shadow figures sneaking through the party as well. Chica needs to follow one of the shadow figures to discover who the person is behind the shadow. When she finds herself toe-to-toe with a shadow figure, her best bet is to run in the opposite direction and hide. Beware, it's very important to not follow the wrong shadow figure, or else. I have many thoughts on the shadows, but before I even get started, never to stop, let's lay out the 3 simple facts we can pull from this section. 1. There are 2 shadow figures sneaking through Chica's secret party. 2. Both shadows will be acting as our obstacles. It'd be far too easy to just give cake to babies, so the minigame needs enemies, and that's fine. 3. Chica can only trust one of the 2 shadow figures. One of them reveals lore. The other spells game over. And no, the guide does not tell you which one's which. So what did we learn exactly? Let's start with the first point mentioned since it's the easiest to explain. The guide specifically says that Chica will encounter 2 shadow figures throughout the party. Knowing this, let's be real with ourselves here. Game theory, 2 shadows? Obviously, these must be the 2 original and most notorious pair of shadows we know of. Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. No, they don't show up in any of the pictures, nor is this outright stated by the guide. But it's 2 shadows, guys. Let's be so for real. This cannot and would not be anybody else, and I believe this 100% beyond the shadow of a doubt. So, moving on. Let's skip past point number 2 for now and address point number 3. One of the shadows can be trusted and will even reveal its true identity to the player. The other will probably just kill us till we're dead. Are y'all? Did everyone just hear what I heard? This is huge, guys. In this minigame, if we follow one of the shadows, we will literally learn who they are. No more wondering, hey, what's up with this shadow figure? Because we would just know what's up with that shadow figure. All we have to do is lock in and choose wisely. But wait a minute, point number 3 seems to contradict point number 2. How could we follow one of the shadows and learn who they are when the guide has at this point repeatedly warned us to just avoid both of them? What gives? Well, I think I can answer this, but first, let's read a little further and learn a little more about this playing field that we're in, aka the house. The secret party takes place in a house that is a maze of adventurous goals with 10 crafty levels to complete in order to win the game. There are 2 bedroom levels and a secret room, a bathroom, a kitchen and dining area, a living room, a home office, a garage, a basement, and an attic, all with a unique undertaking that Chica must tackle in order to beat the levels and ultimately say goodnight to her guests. So Chica will be going all over the place, not just where these 4 pictures depict her at. In what we've read so far, it's implied that the shadows can also just stealthily appear anywhere in the house and try and catch us. And I think that's true. I think that for the majority of this minigame, Chica must be very careful to avoid both Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie, or else it's over for her. However, I have a feeling that if we're clever, we can change that. You'll see exactly what I mean once I finish this sentence, because it's time to read about the levels. The room levels are sporadically laid out throughout the 3-story house. Interestingly, Fredbear appears walking through the hallways. Chica may find it useful to see what he has to say. However, when he decides to talk to her is somewhat of a mystery. Chica may discover interesting tips and tools throughout the party to help her fulfill her goals. Holy lore, guys. First, the shadows, and now Fredbear himself has joined the party. Not gonna lie, I kinda got FNAF World vibes from this. You know, how he talks to us in that game. Though it seems that in this minigame, he might not be ready to talk at all right away. Weird, right? Well, since I've read this whole thing already, let me tell you guys something. It's not just Chica, Fredbear, and the shadows together in this house. There are even more uninvited guests at Chica's secret party, none of which are very helpful. That is, until Chica completes a certain task or meets some sort of requisite. In other words, the things we do in the minigame change how these guests behave. Somewhere within this massive 3-story house lies the key to getting Fredbear to speak. Is this a bit daunting? Yes. Am I surprised? No. This is Five Nights at Freddy's. If you want lore, then you're gonna have to suffer and earn it. But as authentic as this minigame has appeared so far, does it actually end up following this pattern? Why don't we find out by reading about the dark basement. Not only is the basement dark and creepy, but also a pipe has broken and the basement is filling up with water. There are 3 crying babies that need to be fed cupcakes and saved, each one strategically hidden within the dark basement. Once you feed a baby, the little one stops crying and floats happily onto the rising water and safely out of the basement window. However, Chica must save the babies within a 3-minute time limit. Unless we were to overanalyze the dark basement, which I don't feel is completely necessary, this part is almost boring. It's just gameplay. It follows the rules that have been established, and it even corroborates the guide's claim that each level will contain a unique undertaking. I mean, we are just giving cake to babies, right? But we're doing so in an actively flooding basement. Again, kind of boring. But this section does have an extra note attached here, which I will read right now. Once Chica completes this level, the doorbell to the front door rings. When Chica opens the door, a package is left on the doorstep. Inside the package is a secret tool. A block of cheese. Bruh. Most interestingly is that once Chica completes a level, Fredbear is ready to talk. He shares just how much dogs love pizza. Well, there you have it. We don't need an old man here to figure out that our actions will have consequences. You completed a level? Well, now Fredbear is ready to talk. Cause and effect. Classic FNAF. And, you know, puzzle solving in general. I suspect that Chica will also have to do something before one of the shadows is finally ready to squash the beef and give up the lore. Already, I have many theories in mind, but we need more context, and I'm running out of time. So instead of reading any further, I want to stay put and dedicate the rest of this video to the mysterious shadow figures. That way we can hopefully get to the bottom of one burning question. Which shadow are we supposed to follow? Fun fact, the first version of the Ultimate Guide used to simply and definitively state that both of the shadows help the children.
This has been another fun Faz fact.
Now, in this updated version, this is no longer the case. Instead, the Ultimate Guide 2.0 flat out begs the question, do they help the children as it seems? I don't want to beat around the bush with you guys here, so I'm just gonna say it. I personally believe that Shadow Freddy will be the one who reveals who he truly is if we choose to follow him. Shadow Bonnie is one of my favorite characters in FNAF. He's really cool, but do I trust him? I don't know, he just emits this aura of agony, you know? I mean, Shadow Freddy does too, but with him it looks more like he's suffering it, not trying to inflict it. With one or two exceptions, of course. Shadow Freddy definitely shows off his fangs in FNAF 4 as the game's final boss. But if you've seen my video, Nightmare Theory, then you might just agree that Shadow Freddy's actually kind of valid for that, and we don't blame him at all. Also, Shadow Bonnie is not completely innocent either. He straight up crashes your game in FNAF 2. Kinda rude. And he's quite antagonistic in FNAF Special Delivery. Creepy, even. It's obviously obvious that neither of the two shadows are completely harmless. So, again, who do we trust? The fact that the first guidebook's information on the shadows was amended, as well as the fact that this minigame is forcing us to make this choice, makes me think that answering this question is really important. So we cannot go off of vibes alone. We have to take a closer look at their track record and really try and understand their motivations. So I honestly think, based off the evidence, that Shadow Freddy gets a bad rep. And I also think that Shadow Bonnie gets a little too much credit where it's not really due. Many theorists believe that Shadow Bonnie is a good guy because in his FNAF 3 minigame, he gives cake to one of the MCI spirits, an objectively good thing to do. I understand that, but counterpoint, so does Balloon Boy. And that doesn't mean that he's good or redeemable. No, I think that the good actions being performed in order to assemble Happiest Day can probably be attributed more to the player of FNAF 3. So us, or Mike. Because if we didn't give cake to the children, it's not like BB, Chica, Mangle, Shadow Bonnie, and Fredbear would just do it themselves out of the kindness of their hearts. Also, it sure doesn't help that in the Fazbear Frights stories, Shadow Bonnie happens to be unreasonably evil. So in case it's not already obvious, I do not personally believe that Shadow Bonnie is truly good or trustworthy or an ally to the children. Now let's talk about Follow Me, the series of sequences in FNAF 3 that, unlike the Happiest Day minigames, are not optional. This, to me, implies that these are canon, unchangeable events. It doesn't matter if the player wants this to happen or not, because it's not up to us. We are simply witnesses. We get to experience what already happened in the past by temporarily assuming the perspectives of the 5 missing children. In my opinion, these sequences can actually clue us in on Shadow Freddy's motivations, because we are not piloting him the way that we did with Shadow Bonnie in his minigame. Shadow Freddy's acting of his own accord here, meaning he chose to expose William Afton by leading the others directly to his hideout. And hey, what do you know? In the novels, Shadow Freddy also shows up out of nowhere and decides to lead people directly to William Afton's hideout. an objectively good thing to do. So I interpret his actions here as an indication that Shadow Freddy is a good guy, an enemy of Afton's, and an ally to the children. I can't speak for you guys, but I would definitely follow Shadow Freddy if he asked me to. I've made my choice, but I have a feeling that not everybody is convinced yet, so let's break it down even further. In order to expand and supplement our understanding of Follow Me, let's take a quick look at the trailer for FNAF 3. Crazy, right? And very interesting. In the trailer, we get to see a live-action sneak peek into the Follow Me sequences. And we even get commentary from the point of view of the missing children themselves. Here's what we learn. First of all, they knew that William Afton would come back. He always comes back. And because they anticipated his return, they planned accordingly. They made a place for him. This is what we see go down in the climax of the Follow Me sequences. After playing along with his evil schemes, the spirits get to finally put their plan in motion. It's one of the most iconic moments in the franchise, the night that William Afton dies and becomes one with the Yellow Rabbit. The death of a murderer. The birth of Springtrap. I think it's great that the kids were able to finally give the man who killed them a taste of his own medicine. They would obviously never see justice otherwise, so high fives all around, including Shadow Freddy. Still, many people believe that Shadow Freddy's actually evil, that he's working with William Afton. Probably because once the children follow Shadow Freddy, like he asks, they end up walking right into the hands of William Afton. Skilled Fazbear technician that he is, he catches them and tears their animatronic bodies apart. Now, depending on who you ask, this was either a good thing that allowed the children's spirits to get a jump on William, or it was a great tragedy. I say this, and I say it like that, because in FNAF 6, we get to hear Henry Emily, of all people, sobbing about what happened in Follow Me. It just bothers me that Henry spends the majority of his insanity speech just absolutely glazing his former business partner and making him out to be this sort of genius mastermind instead of the cornered, pathetic rat that we see in Follow Me. Let me repeat that. We see William Afton get cornered like a rat in Follow Me. We all get a bird's eye VIP view of this event, with the context from the trailer, and as of a year ago, with the context from the Dead by Daylight collab, which also paints this as one of William's most pathetic moments, and which I also made a video on, by the way. Henry, on the other hand, bro wasn't even there, and you can tell. He set some sort of trap. I don't know what it was. Yeah, no kidding. You can tell that Henry is missing or ignoring important context because he frames Follow Me as a purely negative thing for the spirits, and somehow as a massive W for William Afton. No mention whatsoever of the fact that his old buddy was outsmarted by his victims, brutally killed, and kept as a prisoner. Henry might be a bit of an unreliable narrator.
A wound first inflicted on me.
But he does have a point. William may have met his long-awaited downfall that night, but right before that, he clearly got something out of tearing the animatronics apart. Most likely, their remnant. Henry knew that the children's souls were further disrespected and exploited. William had a whole setup and facility dedicated to experimenting with the dark secrets of soul power. It seems that before he was laid to rest, he managed to put something else into motion. So, it's complicated. In the short term, I think Follow Me was a W for the kids. I think that with the help of Shadow Freddy, they were able to keep Afton trapped for a good amount of time, decades, and even, per Nightmare Theory, torture and force him to think about what he'd done. In the long term, however, this kind of backfired on everybody. By refusing to let William just die, the spirits allowed him to return, even stronger than before. This is, of course, just a theory, but my point still stands. I don't think that Shadow Freddy is evil, or that he's to blame for William's actions regarding the fun times. Follow Me could have been a happy ending. Nobody asked the Fazbear's Fright team to go and wake up a serial killer's undead corpse for ticket sales. As usual, the true villain was capitalism all along. Alright, class consciousness aside, I am unfortunately at my limit, so it's time for us to say goodbye. What do you guys think? Did I make the right choice? Is Shadow Freddy trustworthy? Or would you rather follow Shadow Bonnie instead? Let me know in the comments below. And like I mentioned throughout the video, you might find it useful to watch my video on FNAF 4, titled Nightmare Theory, as well as my video on the Dead by Daylight lore implications, where I talk a little more about Follow Me, FNAF 4, and how it all ties into Nightmare Theory. Those are both optional side quests though, so don't worry about it too much. Anyways, don't forget to like today's video if you liked what you saw, and subscribe if you want to hear the rest of my thoughts on Chica's secret party. In the next video, we'll get to really start exploring what is obviously the Midnight Motorist house, so get hype. Thank you so much for watching, stay safe, stay woke, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Should I get the golden Freddy? Hold on.